What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be taking a break from the breakdowns and the tips and the patch notes and all that kind of stuff, and I just wanted to have a discussion about the current state of Modern Warfare, and more importantly, the interaction between Infinity Ward and the community. And this video stems from the most recent update that we got yesterday, early in the morning or late at night, depending on where you were. And something that I talked about in yesterday's video, which was what I feel is a very poor way of handling communication. Before that update, Ashton, the community manager at Infinity Ward, tweeted this. She said, "We're finalizing the notes for, quote-unquote, the big update you all keep asking about. Notes are a little over 2 pages long, lots of good stuff in here." So this tweet kind of blew up before the update, got a lot of people really excited, and expectations were quite high coming into this update because of this tweet. And I think it's fair to have relatively high expectations. I think it's fair to expect this update that we got to be like the biggest update we've seen so far since the game launched, because she's titling it The Big Update. Then when the patch notes actually hit yesterday, it was basically just a normal update. Like, yeah, there were some good improvements there. There were some nice little steps in the right direction, but it completely missed that mark of being the big update that we all kept asking about. And this had a lot of people in the community very, very disappointed. Now, for me, I'm really trying not to fall down that rabbit hole of Reddit where you end up kind of in an echo chamber, things start to get blown out of proportion. That absolutely happens there. As much as I often agree with what the general consensus is on Reddit, things can often get blown out of proportion. But even saying that, I have to admit, I was very disappointed with this update as well. And I'm also getting quite frustrated with this game. I really feel like since launch, I've just been thinking like, oh, a couple more patches and it'll be in a good place. It's getting there. It's going to get there. We're going to get that update. And I thought this was going to be that update that was going to address a lot of the community's major concerns. And that's just not what we saw. And there isn't even any communication regarding what their mindset is, what their plans are. And I haven't really seen much communication in the way of simply addressing the issues and say, hey, we're aware of this, we're looking into it. Or even at the very least, we hear you, but this isn't the direction we're going to take, even though that probably wouldn't go over well. But I'm really starting to see a very similar pattern to what we saw in COD World War II. And that scares me a lot with this game. If you guys weren't around with COD World War II or you don't remember, the game launched in a pretty rough state, and the big thing with it is there were a lot of design decisions and gameplay decisions that they made, and there was a certain vision that they were going for with that game for multiplayer that fell flat with much of the core audience. I'm talking the players that are so dedicated that they actually spend their free time outside of even playing the game to talk about the game. And the communication from them wasn't that great. They weren't properly addressing the community's concerns. And it got all the way to the point where in the new year, the studio heads of Sledgehammer, Condrey, and Schofield were essentially shuffled off elsewhere in the corporation. Then immediately after they were gone, things started changing very quickly. We got the Divisions update, which was a massive overhaul on the game, and the game just started going uphill from there. It was like a complete 180, and suddenly they were listening to us, and things started improving, and hype started building back up for the game. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, it was too late. They had already lost a lot of those core players because they just had enough of all the nonsense they were dealing with when Condrey was around. It really worries me that I'm seeing that similar trend right now with Modern Warfare. I realize we're still just a month in, but at the same time, we're a month in. And some of the biggest issues have still not even been acknowledged by the developers. And it's not that they're not hearing us. I know they spend a ton of time on Reddit. They spend a ton of time on Twitter. They're seeing the complaints. They're seeing the issues. They're seeing a lot of hate as well, which I don't encourage that. I do encourage anytime you're communicating with the community manager or developers, anybody at Infinity Ward, I encourage you guys to remain as respectful as possible. But people are getting frustrated. And I can understand the frustration because it does kind of feel like it's falling on deaf ears. But having said that, it looks like they are aware of what we're talking about because in the patch notes on PC yesterday, for a short period of time, there were actually a few developer notes in there that weren't meant to be public. So let's get into those a little bit. The first one was regarding Gun Game. There was a little developer note that says, Gun Game is a fan favorite mode and we should see some positive sentiment around its addition. And they're absolutely right on that. Gun Game is a great mode. I think it should have been there from the beginning. I hope it never goes away. I actually hope they bring in a party tab where they have permanent party modes, and I hope Gun Game is going to be one of them. So it seems like with that little developer note, they absolutely are in touch with the community. They know what they're talking about. The next one is a much bigger one. With this one, this is with the footstep audio adjustments, where they just adjusted the crouching and the aim down sight walking audio. They basically made those dead silent. And with this one, we got another little developer note, and this said, "This is a hot topic in the community, and this is not the change they were hoping to see. Our core players want to see footstep volume drastically reduced." And once again, this just shows that somebody there understands the community. They actually are hearing what we're saying. And it's great that they're communicating that internally, but the problem is they're not acknowledging that. They're not communicating any of that to us. And I think that's leading to a lot of frustration. If people had some light at the end of the tunnel that they can look forward to, maybe they'll stick around a little bit longer. But as it is right now, I've been seeing tons and tons of tweets and comments from people that have been around this community for a really long time. I recognize a lot of these names as people that have been on my YouTube channel and following me on Twitter for a long time, and they're either completely done with this game, they've already uninstalled it and moved on, or they're just hanging on to that last thread right now, but they're losing faith. So I really think it's time for Infinity Ward to step up and have some form of communication, some form of dialogue with the community, whether that be in the form of a blog post or one of those live streams that they used to do all the time. I think it's about that time where we get some good communication and dialogue with the community, where they actually address at least a bunch of our main complaints. I realize they're probably not even allowed to talk about certain things, like skill-based matchmaking and some sort of a hidden ELO or MMR system in the background. I mean, even if they can't talk about that, there's got to be some other things they can discuss, and what their plan is going forward with that to hopefully give some of their core audience some hope for the future before too many of them are gone for good. And going back to that developer note, one of the key words in there is this is the core audience. They recognize us as the core audience of the game. This isn't the casuals, this isn't the new players that they're trying to attract, which they've done a great job with, by the way. So I gotta give them props for that. They definitely hit their sales, and that shows. And I think that's a good thing. I do want this community to grow. I want new players coming in, and I want a healthy ecosystem, just like the developer said pre-launch. But this shouldn't be coming at the cost of the core audience. And if we go back to that Game Informer interview with Joe Seacott, I'm not trying to pick on Joe or anything. I've met Joe several times. I like you, Joe. You're a good guy. You're really passionate about the game. And it does suck to see a lot of the hate that's thrown your way because you've kind of been the face of multiplayer for us. But going back to Joe's words in this interview,
that approach that you're describing there isn't going to come at the expense of the hardcore players, right?
That's not the plan, right? But we want to make sure that we don't want someone who's, how to say this, lower skill to have a bad experience. We want someone who's higher skill to have a bad experience.
Now, I'm not trying to speak for the entire community of higher skilled players. I can only speak for myself, but I do know a lot of people are agreeing with me here. You've missed your mark on this one. It really seems you went too far in the other direction. And like I said, I do recognize the importance of bringing those new players in and hooking them and attracting them towards the game. And Infinity Ward has done an amazing job of that this year. But I do feel that has been at the cost of the core audience of this game. And that is very dangerous territory for the longevity of a game. It's great to have a game that's easy to pick up and fun for people that have never played that game before or never even played that franchise before, but that can't be coming at the cost of the experience of the most dedicated fan base that you have that has been with the franchise for the past decade or more. And I do strongly feel that that's what's been happening within the first month of this game. So again, the big thing I'm asking for here, it's not even that I'm asking for changes right now. I'm just asking for some communication. I think it is definitely time to start opening up lines of communication beyond just the odd tweet responding to things. Because when it comes to little bugs and stuff, when people are reporting bugs, the devs have been great with just getting on top of that and saying, hey, well, I've passed that along to the proper channels. Thanks for the report. That stuff's great, but we need more information on the big picture issues and the direction that this game is going in the future. For those that might be curious, when it comes to me and how I'm feeling about this game personally right now, I'm honestly at the point where I'm only playing this game for my job. I love making videos, I love breaking down mechanics and doing all that kind of stuff, but I simply don't enjoy playing this game beyond the odd match every now and then that I need to record for gameplays. And this is actually a little bit scary for me to see because I have never felt this way about a Call of Duty just 1 month after launch. Maybe like 6, 7, or 8 months after launch, I start to feel a little bit burnt out and kind of tired of playing it. Never in the past 12 years with Call of Duty have I felt this way about a Call of Duty game this close after launch. I haven't even hit level 155 yet, and keep in mind, this is what I do for a job. My entire job is breaking down mechanics in this game, and I haven't even played enough to reach level 155. And with a lack of proper communication from the developers, I'm not really seeing much hope for the future either, which is definitely scary for me. So, as it is right now, they've kind of lost me already when it comes to playing for enjoyment. But having said that, my content's not going anywhere. Like I said, I still love breaking things down in custom games and finding out stats and bundling that into an easy-to-view format to share with you guys. Still love my job, still love what I do, but I'm just not enjoying this game in its current state, and it's got so much potential to be great. And with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are you currently feeling about this game? And on top of that, what is your Call of Duty history? Because I feel like that's something that's really important to add as well. I know there's a ton of people that are having a blast with this game and they're enjoying it, and I'm happy for those people. I'm just not happy that that seems to be coming at the expense of many of the other people in the community, especially a lot of the very dedicated Call of Duty players. But hey, I'm sure there's even a lot of very dedicated Call of Duty players that have played every single COD game for the past decade, and they're still loving this game. And for those people, I've just got to say, I don't know how you do it, but I'm happy for you. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.